press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Emmanuel Macron is wrapping up his first state visit to India this Monday, pledging €700 million for green energy in developing countries. Solar power has topped the agenda on much of his trip, with Narendra Modi trying to position India as a world leader in renewables by 2030. Macron is today in the holy city of Varanasi, where he's opening a landmark new solar plant there. France 24's Francois Vibo reports.
It's a must-see for anyone travelling to India. And on their state visit, the French president and his wife didn't break with tradition. The only difference with their photo op is they had the entire Taj Mahal to themselves. Earlier in the day, Emmanuel Macron attended a summit with 20 other world leaders to address the main reason for his visit, promoting solar energy. Born from the COP21, the International Solar Alliance hopes to reduce the barriers for developing nations to make the switch to renewables.
All together, we take a new commitment, which is just to deliver, to get concrete results for our countries and for our planet. Et donc, mettons-nous au travail.
On Monday, the French president and his host, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, travelled east to the holy city of Varanasi, where they unveiled a brand new solar power plant built by French energy giant ENGIE. It's the largest plant of its kind in the state of Uttar Pradesh, a region home to over 200 million people. Macron is expected to finish up his trip by the banks of the Ganges River, where each year Hindu pilgrims bathe for absolution.
Solar plant. To get the latest then, let's cross live to Varanasi and bring in our reporter there, Delano D'Souza. Delano, first of all, the visit of Emmanuel Macron, green energy clearly front and centre here. Tell us more about what's been happening where you are today.
Well, that's right. Firstly, slight correction. Emmanuel Macron is in the city of Mirzapur, inaugurating the solar power plant built by French company ENGIE that 100 alongside the Indian Prime Minister. He will then be coming here to the city of Varanasi, and behind me you will see the boats. Him and the Indian Prime Minister, along with Emmanuel Macron's wife Brigitte Macron, will be sailing down the Ganges River, a very sacred river for Hindus here in India. And I should say it's all about the look for this visit. Now, both Emmanuel Macron and Prime Minister Narendra Modi are all too aware of the optics of this boat ride. Varanasi is no random choice for the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is where he won his seat in Parliament back in 2014. The state of Uttar Pradesh in itself is India's most populous state, and it has the most Muslims in the country. But the state's chief minister is very close to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He comes from the same BJP party, the Hindu Nationalist Party, and he's been known to say things that are very controversial. In the past, he said things like, I want to make the state of Uttar Pradesh and India Hindu again.
And Delano, we've been hearing this is Emmanuel Macron's first trip to India as president. What else has he been focusing on his tour?
Well, this three-day visit has been jam-packed for Emmanuel Macron. The key takeaways on the French side, obviously, have to be those 13 billion euros worth of deals that were announced on Saturday. For the Indians, it's all been about the defense. You know, we've had that big announcement that came when the two leaders first spoke together, and France enjoyed access to each other's naval bases in the Indian Ocean. Now, this is a huge takeaway because they're saying that this come together to tackle
Apologies there, we've been having some trouble with our connection there with our correspondent in Varanasi. We'll try and get the latest for you on Emmanuel Macron's trip a little later on for you in the programme. And Emmanuel Macron wraps up his first trip to India, pledging €700 million for green energy. Solar power has topped the agenda, with Narendra Modi pushing for the country to be a world leader on renewables by 2030. Well, it's time now on the programme for our Focus Report, and today we're heading to India, where Emmanuel Macron is rounding off that first tour as president. As we've been discussing this morning, solar power has topped the agenda, with India positioning itself as a champion of renewable energy. The country may be the third largest polluter, but is undergoing a spectacular growth in the solar sector and on track to be one of the world's largest clean energy markets. But the establishment of large solar plants has been uprooting communities up and down the country. Our reporters go behind the scenes to reveal a darker side of what is considered one of the brightest industries of India.
This is Kamuthi. With 2.5 million panels, it is India's largest solar power plant. It's a matter of pride for the country, but behind its gleaming panels looms an ecological disaster. Each day, 200,000 litres of water are pumped illegally from neighbouring villages to clean the plant.
They are diverting our water, and the inhabitants of the surrounding villages are left with nothing. We sent letters, we have demonstrated, blocked roads even, but nothing has changed. If they continue like this, all the families living within 50 kilometres of the plant will not even have water to drink.
For this local politician, stopping the Adani Group, the company that runs the plant, from drying up the region has become a mission. The area is already reeling from a historic drought, and farmers are desperate.
Yes, it's very dry. My heart bleeds when I see my field. The solar plants made our work impossible. We exhaust ourselves for nothing. The Prime Minister promised that there would be electricity for everyone, but it did not happen. We have power cuts all the time. Not only do we not have electricity, but we're also facing a water shortage.
Solar plants take up a lot of space and often require evicting people from their land. Neemuch Solar Power Station in central India covers an area of 300 hectares. That's as large as 18 football stadiums.
That was my house, and behind was my field. We were growing corn and soybeans. But then they built this wall. They took over the whole area and had a lot of construction work done. I tried to stop them, but they called the police. I ended up at the police station myself.
Like many Indian farmers, Savara did not own the land he cultivated. He simply used it.
That's the proof that I paid a fee for 15 years to use this field.
Savara was forced to leave with his children and animals. It is difficult to evaluate the exact number of displaced farmers because in India, criticism of the solar dream is unacceptable. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made it a personal priority. In November 2015, at the Paris Climate Conference, he joined hands with France to launch the International Solar Alliance, an organization dedicated to the development of renewable energy.
The idea is to give countries, who mostly have the sun as a main energy resource, the tools for development.
The French and Indian governments have intensified their campaign and have established a $1,000 billion fund for investment. 2 years later, the International Solar Alliance already has offices on the outskirts of New Delhi. But they're nearly empty. The organization only has 10 employees so far. Of the 121 countries that signed up, only 22 have ratified the agreement. Neither Canada nor the United States are amongst them. Today, a Bangladeshi delegation of solar panel manufacturers is visiting. They want to sell their technology to the alliance.
African countries, it's a huge market for a lot of people. It's a 3 billion population globally that has not been yet served with energy.
A huge market that's also quite chaotic. In recent months, following a drop in the price of solar energy, buyers, including Indian public institutions, have not honored the contracts they signed.
But so, are you really playing the role of a manager here?
We're just starting out, so we don't have a managerial role, but we play the role of an aggregator, a facilitator.
They are certain that the future is bright. But if their contracts are not fulfilled, the sector could lose up to $6 billion.
And the bright is there, we take the brightness to outside of the world. Thank you.
So you go ahead.
Today, it is primarily the Chinese who dominate the market. 70% of the solar panels sold in India come from China. As in this small factory, the only Indian thing about these solar lamps are their names.
Do you see these little diodes? They are all imported. All our products come from Taiwan, Korea, and especially China. We only assemble them here.
The Indian Prime Minister has made the Make in India program central to reviving the economy.
We see on television, in the newspapers, that the government is more and more ambitious regarding its solar projects. But for small companies like us, there is no help made available. Instead of importing products, if we could make them in India, we would save money, and that would create jobs for Indians.
At present, India is still heavily dependent on coal. But Prime Minister Modi has promised that the sun will power 60 million homes by 2011.